Hi, most of you who know me and who have seen some of my get well health videos, kind of, know me that I'm sort of an off the cuff, straight shooter, pretty honest, and not afraid to come up against a lot of things. Doesn't mean I'm not nervous, but I will go ahead and do it. So I thought today I would speak, since it's the Bellletstalk Day, and put a little bit of my story out there, since a lot of people may think I am this totally well put together person all the time. And I'd like to think that for the most part I am. But I do want to share that mental illness runs in my family, first of all, and I have experienced it firsthand with myself. My early 20s, I was 3 months away from from graduating as a nurse, and took a break with hopes that I would go back anyways. Found out that it really wasn't for me. I was working part-time at Eastside Mario's and doing quite well at school, and enjoying it for the most part. Certainly there were a lot of things that I would still need to learn about letting go of patients and not burning myself out, which obviously didn't work too well at that point, but there were other things going on in my life at the time. So one morning I woke up. It was a Saturday. I was going down to start up. Actually, it wasn't a Saturday. It was during the week, and I had to open the bar. So I went down. I got the bar all set up, all good, ready to go, because I wasn't going to let somebody else down and not have it going. And then I took a whole bunch of pills that, let me be clear, I knew wouldn't kill me, but would make me very sick. I walked into my manager's office and I told them what had happened. I said, I think they better call an ambulance. And they did. I was taken to Mackenzie Health and called my aunt, who doesn't really love driving out of town. She lived in Newmarket and she now had to come to Richmond Hill during a busy day, but my parents were working and I didn't want to call them. So I called her, and because of her love for me and all of that, she came over her fear and drove down to Mackenzie Health so that she could pick me up and take me home once they were going to discharge. I had to get up because I wanted to go and ask a nurse, and there was nothing more, I guess, bringing it to real life than seeing next to your name OD. So people then knew I needed some help. I got some help with a therapist, and we talked it through. And I took some time off work. I took a break from a few weeks off from school, and everybody thought I was okay. And so then life started going back to normal. This was in a very short time, and I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm not okay. And so one day when I was off, before I was going back, I thought, man, people aren't getting it. Like, I'm not good. And so my parents were both working. I went in, and again, knowing that it wasn't going to kill me, because that was never my intent. I just needed people to be aware that, hey, man, Danielle may look like she's good, but she's not. And I cut both my wrists. Again, in a way that wasn't going to do any serious damage. It wasn't bleeding out. I was focused enough that I could walk across the street to my neighbors and said, hey, look, this is what's just happened. I think I better go. And so the second time became a little bit more serious. This time I was up at South Lake. At the time, still may have been called York Central, I think. I'm not sure. Anyways, it doesn't matter. And I wasn't admitted. I came home, but I did have to go to the outpatient program. And this was probably one of the best things that truly ever happened to me. So here I am, early mid-20s, someone who, was pretty active, pretty fit. And now I am in a room full of what I would have termed at that time a bunch of Looney Tunes that weren't me. Some were older, some were younger, some were, not from the same background that I came from. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not you. And turns out, yes, I was. And it was very humbling to find out that people had the same stories. Did I get in an argument with some of them? You bet I did. I thought I was going to get my ass kicked by one woman who I can't remember her name, but man, can I ever remember her face. We did not see eye to eye, but it was a safe environment for us to sort of work that out. And over the course of time, we got to understand each other. I did workout exercises. I remember this so clearly, where you had to sit in a chair, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm sitting in a chair doing exercise. Don't these people know that I run, I go to the gym, I do aerobics classes? No, didn't matter. And it was great. I could never have asked for anything better to happen to me, and I truly believe that. Then I graduated on to the second step. I didn't fully complete it. It did make me a touch irritable, but I got some great things out of that as well. And one of them, and I don't remember the whole saying and who did it, although I'm sure you could look it up online, but a lot of it was about this man who bad things happened to him, but he was still always, not always smiling, but he chose to make the best out of it. And he always said he had a choice. He could either choose to be unhappy or choose to be happy. That's probably a very bad example because that's a very tough one. But you can make that choice to look at something differently. And I guess what I want to say out of this, well, then I'm going to, and I know this is going to be long, then I want to flash ahead to probably maybe 10, 12 years later, another situation, which I won't get too much into because I don't sort of want it out there, and I don't want my son, not that he doesn't know about it, but it doesn't need to be public, but I went through pretty bad divorce, and I didn't take any time off during that time. There was a lot going on. I had to sell my house. I lost everything there. They were all material things. I walked out of it with nothing. Found out some terrible things that had sort of gone on that I wasn't aware of. And anyways, moved in with my mom and dad. And I had just been in a new role. I'd only been at the organization for 6 months. And so I couldn't take any time off. And I think that helped in a lot of ways because I couldn't sit and wallow in it. But I also went back to what I had learned 10, 12 years ago on how to talk myself and get through it. I will also say I had incredible support from family and friends. There were moments though there where I'm like, man, if people ever knew, they would think I'm the coldest person on earth. Here I'm going into work, all of this shit falling down around me. And except for those who were close to me that I talked to, you would have no idea. And so that was a hard one for me at first because I thought, man, I don't think I'm this cold person, but man, look how I'm functioning. And I made it through. And I now no longer think of myself as cold and that person. I did what I had to do. One, my son was only 2.5, to keep him going, to keep me going. And of course the help of my family. And pulling in all of those tools from before. Now, I didn't take any time off. I made it through. It was tough. I'm not going to say that any of that was easy. Then come to, I guess now 2 years ago, and I actually had to take my first stress leave from work. And that was a tough one for me to do. But again, things were going on. This time it was more with my son and my own mental health. And I just needed to take a break. So I took 4 months, and it was good. And again, I used those same tools that I learned back in my early 20s, and plus more that you develop along the line and got through it. That all said, it's not easy. There is no magic pill. It's like if you're fighting addiction, or even eating, there is no magic pill that is going to make it go away. And it is constant, but you just have to sort of fight. And I'm not going to propose that it's a cookie cutter and everybody does it right. I think you need to have the support. I'm hoping that stigma around it goes away. I still, when I get a chest pain, and I've gone a couple of times because I've had chest pain, heart disease runs in my family. I'll be honest. I hate telling a doctor that I suffer from depression because the first thing that I feel like they're going to chalk it up to is anxiety. Very well may be, but I want to make sure they're going to look at my heart, man, and I'm not going to die a heart attack because somebody thinks that I'm just a Looney Tune and going through a panic attack. So that stigma is still very much there today, I believe. I think it is getting better. And I think we all just need to be there and help each other. It looks different for everybody. I would just encourage anybody who is feeling down, or don't hide it. Embrace it, because it's part of you. I used to think that, I didn't want it to define me, and I don't believe it does, but it certainly has influenced me to be a much stronger person. And you know what, it's a part of me, and you just move through it. So please, please, if you're struggling, reach out for help, to whoever you can. And if it's not working for you and that person doesn't seem right for you, move to somebody else and give yourself the chance to fail and to be down, and take small steps. It isn't going to happen overnight. That was in my 20s. I'm now going to be 49. It truly is a mental block. And every day it's sort of, not every day, but part of it, you think of it, and different things happen in your life. I'm like, am I going to be able to handle that? And use some of those tools. Use your family, use your friends, use whatever help that you can find. And I guess that's all I have to say. And it does look different. Everybody is affected, all different walks. I shouldn't say everybody, all different people, socioeconomic, racial, all of that. It all happens a bit differently. People do suffer it. And people who think you have it all together, maybe people don't. Maybe I'm just thinking, hey man, I'm pretty good. But please, and never hesitate, even if you're a bit of a stranger, to reach out to me. I'm never afraid to share my story, my thoughts. You may not like them, you may not agree with it, but I'm certainly there to offer an alternate view. Anyhow, this is Bellet's Talk, and please take care.